Hey there, Twins fans. My name is Seth Stowes of Twins Daily and twinsdaily.com. And for the second straight day after a couple of weeks away, we're back with an all-new Twins Spotlight. This week, we've been able to get to know one of the Twins 2021 draft picks, and today we will get to know another one. Real quick, for those of you listening, this will be available shortly after we're done on the Twins Daily podcast, wherever you download podcasts. Right now, you can watch this live on Twins Daily Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. And if you'd like, feel free to participate, ask questions, send congratulations, send ideas, whatever they may be. And we'll go from there. And again, always feel free to leave feedback, comments at YouTube or in at Twins Daily. Happy to find out what you'd like us to ask. Maybe who you'd like to see us have as guests and go from there. So let's talk a little bit about our guest today, episode 53, season 2. This is the 18th episode this off season, and let's learn a little bit more about our guest, a Twin Spotlight, and its right-handed pitching prospect and 2021 draft pick, David Festa. He went to Seton Hall and was the Twins' 13th round pick last year. I know he made quite an impression, both in the FCL in a few games, but also, in the instructional league and things like that. So we'll get a chance to get to know him a little bit and find out what he's all about. So without further ado, let's bring in the star of today's show, and that is David Festa. David, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Seth?
Doing well. Thanks for doing this. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, when we were talking ahead of time, you made the comment you've been in Fort Myers already for a couple of weeks. I know there was a camp, but now you're just there, even though camp doesn't officially start for a couple of weeks yet. What's been the atmosphere down there? Was it important for you to kind of get down there and get to know how things work? Get to know some of the guys.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely been a good atmosphere. I love the guys down here. And obviously the off season, it was definitely cold up where I live in Jersey, so it's nice to throw outside again for sure. And just another opportunity to throw in front of some eyes and continue to just work on some things and weight lift down here, and it's been exciting so far.
Well, we'll get to all of that for sure, but let's go back to your Jersey roots. From there, grew up there. I know you went to Seton Hall Prep and then went to Seton Hall from there. But let's start with your earliest memories. Were you in the little league programs? What are some of your earliest memories of playing baseball, watching baseball, and kind of liking baseball?
Yeah, I mean, such a young age, I started playing baseball, and the first memories I have are, my dad coaching me throughout like the recreational leagues when I was younger, and we'd always be working out on the side, and I can remember the times when, me and my older brother would always be hitting and fielding and always having fun, and that was kind of the main thing, to always be loose and have fun, and so growing up, my dad coached me throughout the recreational leagues, and then once travel ball hit, obviously he didn't continue to coach me, but I'd play locally, and then I happened to go to a local high school and university.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk a little bit too then about your transition into high school ball. If I look correctly, we had Pearson Ole on yesterday, and he was on I think the varsity for 3 or 4 years. But I think you were only for a couple of years. You obviously go to a pretty big school, a lot of talent in there. Talk a little bit about your high school experience and making that jump up to the varsity level.
Yeah, so Seton Hall Prep, where I went to high school, was a super competitive high school, and it was most frequent to have a player only on varsity for 2 years, and that's kind of how we did it. So we'd have a freshman team, a JV team, which was essentially a sophomore team, and then you'd likely be on varsity from junior to senior year. But super talent there, really competitive, and we were always at the top of the state every year, and that's kind of the one thing that was interesting about high school, is that you had that interesting dynamic of you got to really work, and I mean that's essential for college and now where I am today. But always have that competitiveness, and our coach always pushed us to, you know, always do our best, and that's why I think we had such a good high school team, and it was a super fun experience.
Absolutely. You talked about playing on a winning team and the coaching you probably got. Teammates, you obviously did proceed and go to Seton Hall. We'll dig into that decision a little bit more in a bit, but did you have other teammates that either got drafted or played college ball or things like that?
Yeah, we had a pretty good team my senior year of high school. We had a Vanderbilt commit, a Stanford commit, a Tulane commit, a Grand Canyon commit. So we had a bunch of other commits. I can't get to them all, but super talented team, and I mean, what a great group of guys it was as well. And it's kind of where I thought my baseball career kind of sparked, kind of playing with your closest friends. I mean, nothing can beat that. And like I said, it was just an unbelievable experience, and I'll still never forget playing alongside those guys in high school. You might be muted, Seth.
I went through a whole show without doing that and forgetting to unmute.
No worries.
Did it right away today. No, again, we're joined on Twin Spotlight today by David Festa. He's a 2021 draft pick, right-handed pitcher. And again, we're getting to know him a little bit. Besides pitching in high school, did you play other positions?
Yeah, I was actually a shortstop in high school, and it's funny. Funny you asked that. I didn't actually start pitching till my senior year of high school.
Oh,
I was committed to play college shortstop, as a matter of fact. And there was a tournament in the summer going into my senior year, and it was one of those baseball tournaments at a younger age when you played like 6 games in 4 days and something crazy like that. And teams run out of pitching. So I decided to pitch that day and happened to do pretty decent and kind of enjoyed doing it. And I also happened to hit a growth spurt kind of later in my high school career. I was a very short kid. Now I'm a little bit on the taller side now. So to have that growth spurt and then to start pitching, I decided to let my high school coach know my senior year that, hey, like I'm interested in pitching. Just wanted to let you know this and that. And I was able to get the opportunity to pitch my senior year of high school. Happened to do pretty well, and a Seton Hall's coach happened to watch me pitch because his son was on the team, and that's kind of where I got the offer to play at Seton Hall University, and I'm very thankful for that opportunity.
absolutely. Before we jump into your time at Seton Hall University, want to ask you a little bit about the rest of your high school career. Did you play other sports? Were you involved in other extracurriculars outside of baseball season? Obviously, in New Jersey, playing in the winter probably is a little more difficult.
Yeah, definitely more difficult. I always had a liking for basketball. I played up and through when I was younger to just about before high school started. And then I just focused on baseball. I went to a pretty solid, well-rounded high school athletically, and basketball would have just been a tough sport for me to play at Seton Hall Prep. So I decided to just focus on baseball and make the most out of that.
Yeah, and then so far so good with that decision. Just looking at your college page at Seton Hall, it talks about in high school you being part of the National Chinese Honor Society, peer leader, Autism Big Brother, member of Knights of Setonia and Wounded Warrior Project. You stayed pretty busy with things outside of the athletic realm as well.
Yeah, I think Seton Hall Prep was kind of a place that really encouraged not only stepping outside of your comfort zone, but kind of serving the community as well as just being a well-rounded person. So yeah, I decided to do those such things, and being an Autism Big Brother was an incredible experience. I had to do that once a week, kind of where I would hang out with those kids and just have fun with them, and that's something they love. It's something I love to do every week. And then I applied to be a peer leader my senior year, and that was kind of another opportunity to kind of show the freshmen at Seton Hall Prep the way, and kind of get to know them and allow them to have a comfort in high school, and make sure they didn't feel out of place. So when you're a senior talking to a freshman, obviously a freshman going into a private school, not in their town, that they're meeting tons of new kids. Obviously, it's normal to feel a little nervous and not know the way. So for us to give them guidance, that was definitely something that I really enjoyed to do.
All right, very good. We're talking with Twins right-handed pitching prospect, 2021 draft pick, David Festa. Reminder to those listening, if you're just tuning in, if you are watching on Twins Daily Facebook or YouTube, you can participate in the show, send us a question or comment, and we'll be sure to ask our guest that as well. So let's talk a little bit. It seems easy to say you went to Seton Hall Prep, you were going to Seton Hall, but I'm guessing you had other options, and maybe that wasn't just an automatic decision for you. What was the recruitment process for you? And were there other options?
Like I said, I started pitching at such a young age, at such a late time, not a young age, at a late time in my high school career that I was committed to play shortstop at a Division III school in Connecticut. And I decided to, after I kind of hit like a big time growth spurt later in my high school career, I decided to give pitching a chance. And things worked out my senior year of high school. And I was able to throw my high school coach is brothers with my college coach at Seton Hall Prep and Seton Hall University, Coach Shepherds. So I was able to pitch in front of the Seton Hall University coach a handful of times because his son attended Seton Hall Prep the same year I did. And I was able to make a good impression. And I decided to decommit from the school I was going to go to about 2 weeks before the semester started my freshman year of college. And really, Seton Hall University was my only offer for college. And I'm really thankful to have that opportunity. And it's something I'll always be thankful for.
And again, you hate to reiterate that it was clearly the right choice for you, but you went right to Seton Hall and you pitched in 14 games, including 10 starts your freshman year, 3-4, 4.42 ERA, which isn't maybe exciting, but that's pretty good for a freshman in any conference in Division I. 58 strikeouts and 53 innings. Talk about your freshman year, your transition to Division I, and just how maybe your confidence had to grow as a pitcher. Maybe that's only your second year. So just a lot going on that first year, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely interesting because I never went on an official visit in college. I lived close to Seton Hall University, so I knew what the campus was like. I met last minute with Coach Shepard at Seton Hall and decided to attend Seton Hall University. And I think a main thing I was able to do pretty well my freshman year and kind of step up into a starting role was just kind of the dynamic I had in high school of like just that competitive nature. Always fighting for a spot. I mean, like I said, there was a good amount of talent on my high school team, and to always push and try to beat those kids out for a spot, I think that set me up pretty well for college. And I kind of just controlled what I could control my freshman year of college, and I was able to play a pretty solid role in my freshman year, and I was really happy with how it went.
Then your sophomore year, obviously just 4 games because of the COVID shortened season. And that brought you into your junior year, where you pitched great. You can see on the scroll numbers below, 6-4 with a 2.00 ERA in 15 games, 72 innings. You had to feel really good about your junior year. What were you able to do during that COVID shortened year to continue to progress?
Yeah. Obviously, I didn't. It wasn't a good time to have our sophomore season canceled. Obviously, no one enjoyed that, but I think it was important to make most of the time that we had, during that break that we couldn't play. And I think mainly, I'm a skinny guy, so I was always weightlifting and trying to get stronger, but I was also really working on my mechanics, kind of really just getting to know my body. And that fall going into my junior year, my pitching coach at Seton Hall and I really worked on just making sure my mechanics were really good and kind of focusing on kind of making my body move the best way I could. And, the coaches there and my teammates put me in a good position to have success. And we ended up having a great year my junior year. didn't finish how we wanted to, but ultimately we had a good season.
Absolutely. One more time, we're joined by David Festa. He's a right-handed pitching prospect in the Twins organization. Mostly started in college at Seton Hall, pitched a few times out of the bullpen. I want to ask you a little bit about, you talked about how you really weren't recruited out of high school much, if any. And how about the draft process? Talking to area scouts, did you do much of that heading into your junior year, during your junior year? Or I like to also ask, were your coaches able to kind of help with that and either, shield you somewhat or bring people to you?
Yeah, my coaches did a good job of that. Obviously, I struggled a little bit my sophomore year, and it was a shortened season, so I didn't try to make too much of it. But it left a sour taste in my mouth going, throughout the COVID break, and I just wanted to do the best I could my junior year, and I knew everything would play its role. And my coaches did a good job of talking to scouts and communicating on their end, but they never wanted to make it a distraction for me, I should say, where I was, only worrying about that and not worrying about, just pitching and getting, having success for our team. And I think that's one thing I appreciate the most was not getting too caught up in the outside stuff and just kind of allowing myself to do the thing I wanted to do. And I think that played a big role in me having success as well as the team. Whereas not creating distractions that we didn't need necessarily, kind of just focusing on the things that you can control.
Yeah, absolutely. You were drafted in the 13th round, day 3 of the draft. Is that generally where you were hearing you may or may not go, or did you have some thought of maybe day 2? I'm guessing day 1 probably wasn't what you were hearing, but I'm guessing maybe you were getting some calls already on day 2.
Yeah, day 2 or day 3. But like I said, I honestly didn't want to get too caught up in that stuff. And, people were telling me some things and other than that, but I just wanted to get that opportunity. And I'm lucky enough to have that opportunity. And now I want to make the most of it. So,
Sure.
yeah.
Um, I assume the twin scout that would have been watching you may have been John Wilson, possibly.
Correct.
What were your interactions with him ahead of the draft, or were they minimal and maybe just called you a couple times on draft day?
That's exactly how it went. The second part that you said, I didn't have much contact with him prior, and I know some teams like to operate in different ways, and he watched me a handful of times my junior year at Seton Hall, but I didn't have much contact with him. And then leading up to the draft, I mean, the day before and the day of, he was expressing my interest and telling me, we'd love to have you, this and that, and luckily things worked out, and here I am.
Absolutely. Just tell me a little bit about draft day. Were you at school or were you with family, friends? How did you go about learning that you had been drafted, or were you watching it the whole time?
Yeah, I was watching it the whole time. I was just with my parents and my girlfriend. I didn't want to do anything too crazy. It was pretty stressful. I mean, obviously, I keep saying that I wasn't trying to worry about it, but leading up to the days before, obviously, it gets a little stressful. And yeah, I didn't want to make like a too big of a deal about it. I just wanted to be with like the closest people that I'm around always, my family and my girlfriend. So I think that was kind of the way I wanted it, and it was a surreal moment to hear my name called.
Before we jump into your time as a pro, let's talk a little bit about your family. Obviously, you just mentioned those are the people you wanted to spend that time with, and a big moment for you. Talk a little bit about maybe them, how they've helped you get to this point, and maybe a couple of other coaches up into Seton Hall that have helped you get to this point where you're just starting. I mean, obviously, you've got a few pro innings under your belt, but you're just starting on a journey here, and a lot of people, I'm guessing, helped you get there.
Yeah. So my mom and dad have played a big role for me. They've always pushed me to do my very best, and I've said it numerous times already that they always focused on they always wanted me to control the things I can control, and Yeah, that's been a main thing for me. I think I didn't want to have too many distractions, and I just wanted to enjoy and have love for the game. And I have an older brother who helped me throughout my baseball career. He also went to Seton Hall Prep, and he later went to Johns Hopkins, where he played baseball. And learning from him, I think, was the main thing too. I loved watching the way he went about the game, and he always strived me to be my best. And I think that sort of that unique bond that we had kind of allowed for me to be my motivation while also being advice in case I ever needed it. And then the coaches, I always in the off season, obviously the coaches at school played a big role for me, but another coach that I worked a lot of time with in the off season was Corey Fagenbaum. He's a local guy that once I started pitching my senior year of high school, he's the one that kind of showed me and kept telling me that I have potential to be good at this. And so he's kind of the one that really introduced me to pitching, kind of leading up to my senior year of high school, and thankful for what we've done. And I still continue to work out with him in the off seasons.
Oh, that's awesome. Let's talk a little bit as far as you signing. Was there any thought to going back for your senior year, or you kind of, I don't know, committed in your mind that you were ready to go take that step to pro ball?
I think I was ready to take that step, but obviously it's tough because you're leaving behind your friends and a great atmosphere, great coaches, and like I said, I'm always thankful for Seton Hall. And luckily, when I went home in the off season, I'm only about 25 minutes from school, so I was able to hang out with those guys and see a few practices. And so I do feel that I made the right decision, of course, but obviously at the time it was it's different to just forego your senior year and hop into pro ball. So yeah, it was a unique experience, but I definitely made the right decision.
Yep. Again, worked out well. One more time here, we're joined by David Festa. He's a Twins right-handed pitching prospect out of Seton Hall, drafted in 2021. And we'll start talking a little bit about your pro career. I mean, we're 20 minutes in, and might as well start talking about that a little bit. You had pitched, and I want to make sure I get this right, 72 innings last year at Seton Hall. So you ended up with 5 innings pitched in the FCL just to kind of get going, I'm assuming. And then for the Mighty Muscles, you worked in 2 games, 3 1/3 innings. So you got 8 more innings of pro ball. I'm curious, what were you doing kind of right after you signing in Fort Myers, until you started getting into some games? What was going on for you before even really necessarily worrying about the innings you got?
Right. For the most part, it was a build up to get our arms back going again because there was quite a break from the end of our college season up until the draft and then the day I signed. So really, they were taking most of our guys really, really slowly and just building back up smartly before we could pitch in a live outing. And so yeah, we would be throwing every day and lifting about 3 times a week, and then we'd do live ABs, but it was about a solid month or so before we got live innings under our belt, and I think mainly they just wanted to get us to get acclimated down there and not really rush because it was later in the season by the time we all got situated and built back up down there. So I think they played it very smart and took a cautious approach, but it was definitely nice to get 8 innings, like you said, under my belt of pro ball before the season had ended.
Sure, just to kind of get it going again. You mentioned you're rooming down in Fort Myers with Cade Povich, obviously Steve Hadger. I had Christian McLeod on the show, Pearson Ole yesterday. A lot of pitchers drafted out of colleges last year. Was it an opportunity for you guys just to meet, get to know each other, talk to each other, throw ideas past each other? Had you known any of them ahead of time?
I haven't known those guys ahead of time. But when we first got down here to Fort Myers after I got drafted, and I met the rest of the draft class. I mean, it was crazy how quick we all got along. All of the guys we enjoyed hanging out with each other, and it was really nice to I was a little nervous heading down to Florida to start pro ball and not knowing a lot of guys. So it was really nice to see how fast we all clicked with one another, and it really feels like I've known them for quite a few years now. So yeah, the guys down here are awesome. The atmosphere is great, and I'm appreciative of that.
Now, I don't know if you've got a baseball on the desk with you or anything, but talk a little bit about your pitches. If you do have a ball, it'd be fun to see your grip. But if not, that's fine too. But what is your pitch mix at this stage?
I'm sorry, I do not have a ball with me, but I do have a fastball, changeup, slider. My fastball is just a traditional four-seam grip. Um, my changeup, which is what I would refer to as one of my better pitches, is a circle change grip, and my slider, which kind of hard to describe that grip, but it's pretty normal grip for that, is the one I use for my slider.
And I know I've asked this to others as well, but when you're going well, when you're pitching well, when you feel like you're on, you've got both, felt good in the bullpen, you go out there and you start throwing the ball where you want. What's working for you? What is your I guess key to success at this point?
I think attacking the zone is kind of the main thing for me. Just kind of trusting the stuff I have, and like I said, my changeup I would say is probably my best pitch. So really, when I have that working and kind of establishing the zone, and I can use all three pitches, is kind of when I'm at my best.
Absolutely. And I read reports out of instructional league last year that you were hitting 97. You mentioned that you're it always sounds bad, but like a thin guy, and you've been working to build that up. Has the fastball always been there for you, or has that kind of come a little bit more with added strength or something mechanical?
I would say it's a bunch of things. And the fastball wasn't always there when I got drafted. I did have a little bit of a velocity spurt or growth, I should say, but I think the main thing was just continuing to do what's right for my body. And I think we took when I first got down here, we have so many different ways of getting numbers, feedback, and understanding, what makes us the best pitcher and this and that. And the coaches down here are great. The instructors are down here are great. And I think just a combination of, like I said, doing the right things, working on mechanics, and just continuing to get stronger, which is something I need to continue to do. And I think a culmination of all those things kind of allowed for me to find that little growth.
Yeah, no, and that's obviously it's got your name on the prospect status at this point. I mean, a lot of times, myself included, we see names that get drafted and you just, oh, okay, well, let's dig a little bit. And obviously that's something that's going to catch people's attention. What are the things that you would say you most worked on this off season back home and really maybe through instructional leagues and, as you've been at camp now for a little while? Is there a pitch or is there a mentality, or is it simply at this stage just getting bigger, getting stronger?
Of course, getting bigger and stronger is a priority of mine. But as other things, we've been working on my lower half, kind of lead leg blocking, and just working on my slider, getting some more consistency with it. I think it's getting a lot better. I just want to, there's always room for growth with anything, and
Sure.
just continue to really master that third pitch, and really working on the lower half, and obviously, like you said, strength training and getting bigger.
Have you given any thought or in conversations with the Twins coaching staff, scouts, whoever it might be, to your role? You did a lot of starting at Seton Hall. At this stage, is that kind of what you're being told to work toward, or is there any way to kind of prepare for that going into a season?
They honestly haven't said one way or the other, but I just want to do, whatever will allow me to have the most success, I guess is the right response. Whether it's out of the bullpen, whether it's starting, which I feel I can do, one way or the other. I think it's
Yeah.
just important to find your role. There's a role for a lot of different people, and I think the main thing is to find which role will allow me to have the most success in pro
Yeah,
ball.
and I think, one thing they did last year in an attempt to keep people's innings under control after the last season was, a lot of piggybacking where one guy would go three and then the next guy would go three, and that played itself out over the course of the year. Last few minutes here with David Festa, wanted to ask you a little bit about, you mentioned the technology and learning about yourself as a pitcher. What were some of the things that kind of came to light for you in that time? Do you enjoy that information?
Yeah, I enjoy it a lot. Obviously, I didn't have much exposure to it in my college days because it's just hard for to have so much technology at your disposal. But TrackMan and like Simi and force plate mounds, I think that really allows you to kind of understand your strengths, understand where you need to improve, and kind of allow for you to be the best overall pitcher in a way. So we've been working on my lower half and making sure I'm using my body as best as possible. And ultimately, if you're doing that, hopefully it leads to success.
And how do you envision using that through the season? Do you think that it's something you're going to want to look at after every start? Or is it because there's always that balance of too much, too fast, and all of that? So just kind of curious your thoughts on how you hope to use some of that information.
Right. And you make a good point that, you don't want to get too consumed in the numbers as opposed to just, pitching. And I'm not someone that, wants to get too consumed in the numbers. I mean, obviously if there's a blatant weakness or something I could improve rather easily during the course of the season, then obviously I'm going to attack it. But I think it's more important to worry about, your outings rather than the numbers and I think that's an interesting way to put it, and I definitely feel that it is important to continue to go over it, and we do from a week to week basis during the season in the off season. But we also do a good job of just short term fixes rather than long term.
And one of the other things I'm guessing this last off season is, and maybe you did, but you didn't have to go back to school, or maybe you did. What was your degree in? Are you close to finishing? Is that something you'd still like to do at some point?
Yes, it is definitely a priority of mine. Obviously, it's a little hard getting adapted to the pro ball season and doing classes, but I was able to take two classes last fall, and I'm a double major at Seton Hall, so I'm majoring in finance and IT. So I have about 8 classes to go before I graduate, and that's definitely a priority of mine to get my degree. And I know it's important just to take it slowly and complete classes when I can. And luckily, I was able to take 2 classes during the instructs and the off season last year.
Okay.
And yeah, so I have 8 classes remaining.
And over this last couple of weeks, have all of the Twins pitching coaches and coordinators been in Fort Myers? Have you had a chance to kind of get to know whether it's all of them or at least maybe, I mean, assuming you're going to start the year at either Fort Myers and get to Cedar Rapids or however that plays out, have you had a chance to work with some of the pitching coaches already that you'll potentially work with throughout the season?
Yeah, there's been a ton of coaches here, instructors, and so it's like a 4-week camp. When they first invited me, they kind of broke it down from a 4-week camp, and
Okay.
all of the coordinators have been here every day, and they kind of had half of the coaches for the first couple of weeks, and now we're on week 3 now. So we kind of have a different cycle of coaches, I guess you could say. And I've had the opportunity to work with just about all of them, and I think that's definitely a good experience and a good way of kind of getting to know the coach, them getting to really know you, what works best for you, what doesn't. And I think that's been a good dynamic and something to really build off of.
It's going to sound like a dumb question, but how much are you just looking forward to going through your first full pro season? Obviously, you got a little bit of a taste last year, and Division One college baseball is like a season in many ways, but it's different. Are you just looking forward to this? Are you excited? wondering what's going to happen? What's going through your head as things are about to get going?
Of course, I'm super excited. I mean, any chance to get to play a season of baseball, I'm excited for it. And obviously, this will be different from college, but I think my college experience and the coaches there have allowed me to put myself in a good spot. And like you said, I'm super excited for my first full pro season.
Couple more questions here and we'll let you go. I'm always interested, and I talk about this with everybody. I think it's important to get away from the game, especially when it's your full-time gig. Just to let your body rest, let those muscles that you use all 8-10 months of the year get some rest. So when you're away from the ballpark in the off season, or even during the season, you get an off day. What are some of the things you do, whether you want to call them hobbies or just things that you enjoy doing?
Yeah, I love to watch sports, so I'm a big sports guy. I enjoy watching it, and I'd say playing video games and hanging out with friends here. I mean, all those things are, like you said, it's great to just get your mind off the game every once in a while. You don't want to be baseball all the time. It's important to take time off for your mind, for your body, and yeah, I'd say watching sports, hanging out with friends, going to the beach, playing video games. Those are probably my main hobbies.
So growing up in New Jersey, I'm going to run through the sports and just ask who your team was. Who was your baseball team? I'm fearing you're going to tell me it's the Yankees.
I am going to tell you it's the Yankees. Yes.
It's a good thing I asked that at the end of the show, because otherwise we'd have had to quit it.
Right. I don't think anyone else would be watching now. So.
How about like the NBA? Knicks or bust or Brooklyn or?
I'm a Knicks fan for the NBA. I'm not too caught up in the NBA. I love basketball. I'm more of a college basketball guy than an NBA guy. Okay. But I am a Knicks fan.
Do you get to Seton Hall games or other games?
Yeah, Seton Hall. I love going to their basketball games. It's a great environment. We have a good fan base, and we've had a good number of years in recent times. So they're definitely an exciting team to watch.
Yeah. How about the NFL? Do you have a team you follow there?
Yeah, I'm actually an Indianapolis Colts fan. I grew up loving Peyton Manning, and obviously it might seem a little random considering I'm from the Northeast, but I've liked the Colts since I'm a huge Colts fan. I've liked them since such a young age, and growing up watching Peyton Manning, I've just continued to like them ever since.
I mean, I don't know if your other options are the Jets and Giants. I don't know.
It might not be too great of options. So good thing I chose the Colts.
So what do you got in the Super Bowl then? The Rams or Bengals?
I think the Rams, honestly. But obviously being a Colts fan, I don't really care the outcome. I'm just hoping for a good game, an entertaining game. But I'd say the Rams. I think the Rams are going.
All right. Last question. We'll let you go. Goals. Are you one that writes down your goals at the beginning of the year? Do you have any that you'd even want to share? Or, I mean, I fully understand if you want to keep some of them to yourself, but are there goals like where you start, where you end, maybe walk rate, strikeout rate, things like that?
Yeah. I wouldn't say I'm a huge goal person, but I do create goals for myself. And I think the main reason I do is to push myself. And you need motivation. You need to strive for greatness, to be your very best. And I think the goals I do have for myself, they're definitely, I make them hard because I think that's the way you should do it. You shouldn't settle for mediocrity. So I'd say that the goals I do put for myself, although it may not be many, and I don't like to consume myself in them, I'd say they're there to push me and to make me succeed and try my very best.
Well, that's fantastic. All right, with that, I'm going to let you go. I'm sure I can come up with other questions. Oh, one other question. What's the weather like in Fort Myers right now?
It's like 82 and sunny right now. So it's a little different from New Jersey.
And I'm in northern Minnesota. It was minus 33 when I woke up this morning. So I may have to make that trip down to Fort Myers either later this month or into March just to get away from it. So
I don't blame you. You.
All right, with that, we'll let you go. I want to say thank you again, David Festa, for opening up and willing to let us kind of get to know you. obviously, best wishes for a good and healthy season. And like I said, look forward to hopefully getting a chance to meet you either in Fort Myers or maybe at Cedar Rapids by season's end. And best wishes, good luck.
Thank you, Seth. Really appreciate it. And thank you for having me.
Of course. And thank you to
Take
everyone
care.
for listening. Really appreciate the feedback. Appreciate if you watched on Twins Daily Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. This will be available very shortly on the Twins Daily podcast, wherever you download podcasts. And later today, it'll also be available on the videos page at Twins Daily. Thank you for those that participated and watched. And again, any feedback, any idea who you'd like to see for guests, please let me know. It's getting close. A lot of players, I want to say you said about 30 guys are down there in Fort Myers right now. I'm sure the hitters will show up soon. Sounds like February 15th, 16th, something like that is when the minor league spring training is going to get started, which is earlier than normal. But unfortunately, that's probably because there are not going to be any major league years there at that point. So hopefully we can get this lockout thing figured out. But good for the minor leaguers. It's at least exciting that is coming soon. With that, thank you so much for listening. And as always, go Twins.